Welcome to Capital OTB's Daily Report, brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com. This is a special Kentucky Oaks edition of the Daily Report for Friday, April 30th. I'm Seth Merrow, and it's a special edition because we have three great guests talking Oaks. We recorded some interviews on Thursday with Brad Cox. Of course, he has essential quality mandaloon in the Derby, but he also has a couple in the Oaks, including a contender travel column. So we talked Oaks with Brad Cox. Randy Moss from NBC Sports also talked some Oaks with us on this morning's Daily Report. And Mike Welch, one of the DRF top clockers. Always get Mike's opinion on the morning workouts leading up to the Derby. You want to check out drf.com for that. But we have him on this morning to talk about Oaks contenders and how they looked in the morning. Same three guests also talk Derby. You'll get their Derby thoughts tomorrow on Capital OTB TV's Racing Across America. I should give you a programming note. With the early post time, Friday and Saturday at Churchill Downs, both days the first post at Churchill is 10:30. So with the early post time, Saturday morning's OTB TV programming kicks off early as well. On Saturday morning at 7 a.m., if you tune into OTB TV, you'll see a replay of the Kentucky Derby seminar. Myself, Mike Callahan, and Brian Addo go through the Derby and some undercard stakes as well. That's 7 a.m. on Saturday on OTB TV, and 8 a.m. is Racing Across America. And again, we'll have the same three guests we're having on this edition of the Daily Report. They'll be back on Saturday morning. Today they're going to talk Oaks. Saturday morning they'll talk Derby. So it should be a lot of fun. Before we get into the interviews, though, I want to pull up Chad Brown. Who knew? Guy does a little stand-up. Pulled up a clip from the Kentucky Derby Twitter feed of the trainers' dinner a couple nights ago. And Chad Brown, who has a lot of stakes winners on the grass. He's trying to get a Kentucky Derby win this year with Highly Motivated. He talks about sitting next to Bob Baffert at the trainers' dinner and getting a little advice from Mr. Baffert. So here it is, as I say, a little stand-up a couple of nights ago down at Churchill Downs from trainer Chad Brown.
I came in with a different strategy this year for the Derby after running a few times. Trainers' dinner's coming. I'm going to sit next to Baffert. That's the first thing I did. I requested when I got here. So
was that for luck or his trophy?
The strategy.
Oh,
no,
okay.
Just pick his brain. So I said, put me next to Baffert, which they did. So I came in with a plan, and I've been working him over there all night. So I finally cracked him.
Nice. All right.
He leaned over to me. I'll tell you, he gave me the inside. So he leaned over and he said, if you want to win the Derby, your best chance is you got to sneak out at Churchill Friday night and put grass seed all over the main track. So I got news for him. He actually didn't say that, but it's something he would say.
That's right. He'll be here all week, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to tip your waitress. Actually, that was a pretty good one from Chad Brown. Again, a couple of nights ago at the trainers' dinner in anticipation of this weekend's Oaks and Derby. Chad Brown with a little bit of a stand-up routine there on stage with Brad Cox also on Wednesday night, again, down at Churchill. And speaking of Brad Cox, let's get into it. We talked to Brad on Thursday, talked some Derby, talked some Oaks, but this morning we'll concentrate on his Oaks runners and a little bit more. So here he is, trainer Brad Cox. Let's switch our attention now to Friday afternoon in the Kentucky Oaks. You have a couple in there as well. Let's start out talking a little travel column. She has had a real nice battle with Clairiere and continued that down at the fairgrounds this winter. She ran second to Clairiere in the Rachel Alexandra, but we're going to pull up the Fairground Oaks, where Travel Column gets the best of Clairiere. Travel Column's going to be number 8, where she wins over Clairiere. Give me your takeaway from the Fairground Oaks. How'd she come out of it, and how's she coming into the Kentucky Oaks this weekend?
Big performance. Obviously, Clairiere is a very good filly. It was their third matchup, and it was a big performance on Travel Column's part. Bounced out in great order. Fantastic workhorse. She's done had all of her work for the lead up to the Kentucky Oaks here at Churchill. It's her home base, and she's very sharp workhorse. Continue to see great works of the morning. hoping that translates over to tomorrow evening, because she's really doing well. I think we're in a good position with her. Excited about this opportunity. We've always thought she was one of our top 2-year-old fillies, and she's been able to pick off 2 grade 2s, and we're hopeful she can add a grade 1 and the most prestigious grade 1 for 3-year-old fillies tomorrow evening.
And I'm assuming the game plan is to be forwardly placed throughout.
Florent's a great rider. He can play the break, but I would think she would be somewhat forwardly placed, especially with the key scratch yesterday of a speed horse.
Yeah,
I think she's going to be forwardly placed. But you go back and watch her goldenrod. We thought she would be forwardly placed. She found herself near the back of the pack, made an incredible stretch run down the lane. So listen, she's not a one-trick pony. There's no doubt she can overcome things throughout a race in order to get it done. So we're confident that not one particular trip she needs in order to win.
And you have another horse in there, a long shot entrant, Coach, Luis Saez on board. Your thoughts for Coach on Friday?
Heart-trying filly, gives you 100% every time. Once again, another one that has experience here at Churchill. I think she's going to have to move forward. She did move forward in her last race in the Fantasy. We're going to need another move forward to be competitive with this group. She's trained well enough. She's a decent workhorse, and she's doing well right now. So we're hopeful that, she can be a factor.
Just want to hit on one of the undercard horses, because I mentioned earlier you won the Kentucky Oaks last year. You did it with She Dares the Devil. She comes back on Friday in one of the undercard races, the La Troyenne Grade 1 event. Looks like she's coming in good form. We're going to watch the stretch run of the Azeri, where she gets the best of Latruska by a head. Give me your thoughts on the season debut in the Azeri for She Dares the Devil. How does she come into Friday?
Huge race off the layoff. We really didn't feel like she was ready. We felt like we needed a few more works to go over there with a lot of confidence. We decided to run her, see how, she caught a flyer. She was on the lead. She was being pressed by some really good fillies, and she was able to kick on down the lane and really showed her heart determination the last bit of the race to, be in front of Latruska. Obviously, we know what Latruska came back and did. And this filly, I feel like, has moved forward since the Azeri. She really loves Churchill. She's 3 for 3 here, and we're hoping 4 for 4 after tomorrow. She's a top-class filly, and hopefully we can add a grade 1 to her 4-year-old resume.
Yeah, she looks very good on Friday, certainly. And Brad, before we let you go, you just alluded to it. Latruska and Monomoy Girl threw down in the Apple Blossom a couple of weeks ago. At the end of the year, this will be up in the top 5 races of the year. This was really a spectacular showdown between those two. I'm sure it was a little disappointing to come out on the short end of the nose photo, but talk a little bit about Monomoy Girl and your feelings coming out of the Apple Blossom and what's up next potentially for Monomoy Girl.
Well, we'll look at maybe the Ogden Phipps with her. Belmont Day, I think, would be a great race. Talking over Spendthrift, and, that's definitely an option. She's going to probably breeze next week for the first time post Apple Blossom and start making her march toward a race this summer.
Yeah, we'll certainly be looking for her, because, again, it's just fun to have her back on the track. And as I say, that was one ding-dong battle a couple weeks ago. Brad, we appreciate the visit. I'm sure it's a busy week. We appreciate your taking a few minutes to chat with us. We wish you a lot of good luck Friday and Saturday and beyond, and we will talk again.
Thanks, Seth. I appreciate it, and have a good weekend.
Yeah, you too. Brad Cox with logical contenders in both the Oaks and the Derby. Thanks to Brad Cox for taking the time to visit with us, give us a little update on Travel Column, Coach in the Kentucky Oaks, and more. Don't forget, tomorrow morning we'll talk Derby with Brad Cox. He has the favorite essential quality. That'll be tomorrow morning on Racing Across America, Capital OTB TV at 8 a.m. Now let's move on. Randy Moss from NBC Sports. He and Jerry Bailey give the color commentary on the big races on the NBC Sports Network and NBC proper. They'll be covering the Derby and Oaks, of course, this weekend. So I reached out to Randy. Tomorrow we'll have some Derby thoughts. But today, from Randy Moss, thoughts on Friday's Kentucky Oaks. Also want to just hit on the Kentucky Oaks on Friday, just because I've been talking about this for the last week or so, really the last 3 or 4 weeks, it seems like, and going back a while with Travel Column and Clairiere. That was in the conversation as well. In that, I'm looking forward to the race on Friday, because I think overall the 3-year-old fillies have been a little more of a consistent bunch on the top end. And as I mentioned, Travel Column, Clariere, search results, Malathat, obviously, from Todd Pletcher. I'm looking forward to the race on Friday. Do you have any thoughts on the Kentucky Oaks?
Oh, I think it's a fantastic race, and I think it's a very evenly matched race, as you pointed out, consistent fillies that are coming into the race the right way. Malathat has made a tremendous impression all week long. After her Ashland getting up to win despite a slow pace and a short stretch at the mile and a 16th distance at Keeneland, she's a legitimate favorite. But I know from talking to Chad Brown, he is extremely high on search results. And while he acknowledges that Malathat is a deserving favorite, he thinks he can beat her. And I think that pace-wise, now that we've had a scratch of a speed horse in the Oaks, I think that favors Travel Column. I think Travel Column could be right up there on an early pace that's not particularly aggressive. I'm actually expecting Pauline's Pearl to set the pace from post number 1, and I think Travel Column will be sitting just outside of her, and she'll get a nice, clean, sanitary trip. So, hell of a race, and there's some other horses in there with a shot as well. Clariere, the mile and an 8, awesome for her. She's coming into the race fantastically. Asmussen's very high on her and very confident. So, can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, it's a really fun race to highlight. The Friday card with great undercard stakes as well, and Saturday, obviously, the Derby with things back to some semblance of normalcy. And I'll ask you, you said you've been down there for a week or so. What is the feeling at the track and in town getting back to the first Saturday in May and being able to have some fans on Saturday for the Derby?
Haven't really got a sense of that yet, Seth, because, like, for example, the Hyatt, where NBC stays downtown, and the Marriott, which is right down the street from it, it's always, in most years, even on Tuesday, Wednesday of Derby week, it's packed, it's buzzing, the excitement is everywhere for the Kentucky Derby. It's been a ghost town all week, literally. So, I know we're going to get fans that come in. I don't know how many are going to come in from out of town. I know we'll get some. But I'm curious, just like everybody, to see what the atmosphere is going to be like, not only at the track but around town. Maybe starting tonight. We'll see. But Thursday, most of the hotels in Louisville, by the way, if anybody ever decides to come in for the Kentucky Derby, number one, be prepared for sticker shock. And number two, most hotels require a 3-day minimum. So people come in on Thursday. They stay Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. So it'll be interesting to see if the activity picks up a little bit tonight around town.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get a sense of all of that with the Friday and Saturday broadcast from NBC. And again, 6 hours on Friday, NBCSN, NBC, and 7.5 hours on Saturday, Derby Day. Randy, as always, really appreciate the visit. I know it's a busy time, so I appreciate you taking some time out to talk to us. Good luck to you and the NBC team on Friday and Saturday, and we'll talk again.
Thanks, Seth. You take care, all right? Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Randy Moss from NBC. Oaks thoughts from Randy Moss. And again, tomorrow we'll have Derby thoughts from Randy. That'll be tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. on Racing Across America, Capital OTB TV. Now we wind up our guest roster for this morning with Mike Welch from the Daily Racing Forum. He's one of the clockers. He's pretty much the main clocker and writes about the lead up to big races. Saratoga, he covers the morning workouts up at Saratoga, but he's always a good read in the Daily Racing Forum, drf.com, in the lead up to the Oaks and the Derby. So I reached out to Mike, got some of his thoughts on Oaks contenders and their morning workouts leading to Friday afternoon. Happy to be joined now by Mike Welch from the Daily Racing Forum, drf.com. You can find his work there, or the hard copy as well. Also, the Clocker reports for this Oaks Derby weekend. Mike, welcome.
Good to talk to you again.
Happy to have you on board. And before we get into specifics on the weekend and the races, I just want to talk a little bit weather, because I'm assuming you probably got from Florida to Louisville just in time for the snowstorm last week. But I'm wondering, snowstorm last week, and there's been some rain. Has that put a hiccup in any of the workout plans over the past week and a half or so?
No, not really. We had some rain the last couple of days, but all the major work was done by then, so it didn't affect any of that. And the trainers kind of worked around the rain last weekend and got everything in. So no real problem from the weather. There was, I think, maybe one morning a couple of horses worked over a little bit of a wet track, but Nothing out of the ordinary. So we were good to go there. Actually, the turf works on last Sunday, were affected by it, and that's reflected when we do our clock report. It'll be mentioned that it was boggy ground, and some of the horses seem to handle it well.
And update us on the Clocker report. So folks go to drf.com, complete packages, Oaks, Derby, and undercard stakes as well.
Yes, yeah, we have full coverage of obviously the two big races, and then we've got as many of the undercard horses that we've seen here: Keeneland, Santa Anita, Belmont, Gulfstream, Palmetto. So we got a lot of stuff in there. We're covering all the races, not even just the undercard stakes. It's every race, both days.
Yeah, great, and a great product as well. We touted a lot, obviously, up at Saratoga, but you can catch the workout reports coming into the Churchill Downs weekend. Let's talk Oaks on Friday. That's the highlight. I'm curious what your thinking was as you watch some of these horses in the morning. To me, this is maybe the more interesting of the two races, Oaks versus Derby, just because I think there's a little more consistency on the top end with the fillies. Malathat, search results, travel column, Clariere, what has kind of stood out in the morning?
Yeah, it's a pretty well matched group. I think I think Malathat is going to wind up the slight favorite over travel column. Of all the horses I've seen work, I thought travel column was the best. Her work on April 23rd, the one and only one I saw here, was very, very good, and she's obviously got a good record going in. I think she's got enough speed where there's not a lot of pace in here, especially now that Avis Grace has come out. I wouldn't even be surprised to see if travel column, they put her right on the lead. So I think she might be the one to beat. Malathat has done nothing wrong. Obviously, her buyer numbers keep going up. She won the Grade 1 Ashland with a big late surge there. And it was a long ways back to the third horse, so it was really only a two-horse race past the Champagne, who she beat, is back in here. For a price, I like Crazy Beautiful. Horse is going to have to improve from a numbers buyer figure standpoint, but she was impressive and improved winning the Gulfstream Oaks, and she's training really well here. She's going to be a big price. Clariere also, I think, is going to be a major factor in here. The trip is going to be important. It's down to a 13-horse field, so obviously a little less crowding and a little less worries trip-wise as opposed to the 20-horse Derby field.
Yeah, as I say, it looks like a fun field in the Oaks with, as I say, a little more consistency on the top end. So looking forward to that on Friday afternoon. Mike Welch from the Daily Racing Forum. Again, those were Oaks thoughts. Tomorrow, all three of our guests come back on Racing Across America tomorrow morning to talk Derby. Brad Cox, Randy Moss, Mike Welch, all back tomorrow, 8 a.m., Racing Across America, Capital OTB TV. Friday, obviously, this is a special Kentucky Oaks edition of the Daily Report, so Friday at CapitalOTBBet.com, Churchill will be in the mix, and don't forget, it's an early post time on Friday, 10:30 a.m. Things kick off at Churchill Downs. A little bit later on Friday, we'll have some Belmont, Gulfstream, Oak Lawn as they wind things down. Santa Anita will also be in the mix a little bit later on. The Meadowlands, Penn National, and Charlestown. All of that coming up Friday. CapitalOTBBet.com. Fire up your account and fire away, starting early with that Churchill Downs Oaks card. Also want to hit you with some of the promos coming up at Capital OTB. Don't forget, on Derby Day, the first 100 women through the door at the Clubhouse Racebook in Albany will receive a Kentucky Derby Rose. The first 100 patrons through the door at the Clubhouse Racebook on Saturday will receive a commemorative Kentucky Derby glass. Clubhouse Racebook, if you're listening early on Friday, the Clubhouse Racebook opens up at 9:30 on Friday, Oaks Day, and on Saturday, Derby Day, the Clubhouse Racebook opens up at 9 a.m. All other branches will open up at 10 a.m. Amongst the Capital OTB branches around the area, so make that note as well. And note that both Friday and Saturday, Churchill Downs kicks off at 10:30 a.m. with their first post times being a little bit earlier on the two big days. Friday, there's also a $150 online Pick 5 bankroll. You can check the website to see if there are still availabilities to maybe get a chance to be on the team. Friday, there's also a $1,500 plus bounty bet Friday afternoon, just play the late pick 5 at Belmont with your Capital OTB bet account, and you can be in line for all or part, potentially, of that $1,523 bounty bet. That's Friday afternoon. So a lot of great stuff coming up at Capital OTB over the next couple of days, Oaks Day and Derby Day. You can always check the website for more information on promotions and events at Capital OTB. Well, it's been fun. Hopefully you got some good information from our guests this morning. We certainly thank them for participating. And don't forget, tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock, it will be the Kentucky Derby Seminar replay on Capital OTB TV. And at 8 o'clock on OTB TV, Racing Across America. And again, our same 3 guests will be back, but talking Derby tomorrow. Brad Cox, Randy Moss, Mike Welch. Tune in, Capital OTB TV. But for Capital OTB's Daily Report, I'm Seth Merrill. This has been brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com. Thanks for tuning in. We always appreciate it. Spread the word. Tune back in again next week. And in the meantime, have a great Oaks and Derby Day.